everyone, this is Rick. I'm back with RW Outdoors again, and today we are going to finally get around to mounting our ATN X-Celsior 15 by 5X day-night hunting scope. Been pretty excited about this. This is a night vision scope that is actually made to work really well during the day. It's a digital scope. Comes with the IR illuminator for night, so I'm very excited to give this thing a shot. We do a lot of predator hunting for hogs and whatnot and coyotes, and looking to see how well this thing works. So today we're going to mount it on our AR-10-308 that we just got finished up. It was built by our friends over at North Florida Ammo, and just got it back from a custom paint job from my friend Derek, just because I like painted guns. I think it protects them and it looks good and it adds a little character. It's a pretty simple mounting system. We got, your basic Picatinny rail mounts. The front mount actually has a Picatinny section on it as well for mounting the IR illuminator to the side when you're hunting at night. And then your standard 30mm ring mount for the rear that takes a 12mm bolt to tighten. It's also slotted for a straight screwdriver, but I prefer to use a socket for it. We're going to mount it here on our AR-10. I'm pretty familiar with this chassis, and I know pretty much where I want to scope for myself, which is just a little forward of the beginning of the Picatinny rail here. One thing you want to definitely make sure of when you're mounting a scope on an AR is you typically don't want to bridge this gap between the forward, the handguard and the barrel and the upper. Here, you don't want the mounts to cross this line because this can move a little bit. And if you have the scope, obviously steadily mounted here and across that line here, it could cause you a problem. So you want to keep both mounts right here on top of the gun, rearward of this brake in the weapon. And I don't know, other than that, it's pretty basic. We'll go ahead and get the rear mount on. Again, it just, standard Picatinny style with this 12mm nut on the outside here. And then, you can kind of get an idea that I can put the forward mount here and it stays rearward of the brake in the rifle. It is a Allen wrench. It comes with 4 bolts on an Allen wrench on each side. 2 bolts on each side of the upper mount here, so you can loosen those up and pull this off. And the same for the forward mount. We'll just get that right about here for now, and we can adjust these later once we get the scope up there. Kind of get an idea where we're at. Take this upper part off of this. Again, it's just 4 Allen bolts on the top. Alright, we got those on there. I like to set the scope in there, kind of get an idea where we're at with it, if it's right about where I want. I know for the AR platform, I typically like my eye relief here to be right about at the back of the handle here. And then once you add in the eyepiece that comes with this, it will obviously make it to where, this is where I need it to be. Everybody's a little different. You might want it a little bit more forward. Some people want it a little more back. Again, this is all just personal preference. You definitely want to make sure that your scope is nice and level and square mounted on the rifle. And that looks actually pretty good. So we'll take the top piece here and put it back on. Again, there's 4 Allen bolts. None of this is rocket science, man. This is all pretty easy. Obviously, you don't want to over torque these and crush the tubes, but these mounts are actually really nice, and they seat down on themselves the way they're supposed to. Mainly because I'm sure these rings are made specifically for this scope. Just give them a little snug. I don't torque them, tighten them just yet. Again with the top piece. I like to do a cross pattern, you know, build race cars for a living. You get pretty indoctrinated in the proper way to torque things, even if it's something that maybe isn't as critical as, say, a cylinder head on a race car. You still do it that way because that's just what you do. All right, get these a little snug. All right, now as you torque these down, I have found that scopes will always move a little bit as you torque them. So I just kind of keep an eye on it, check it, make sure it's still nice and level, which it is. The mounts, like I said, it's a 12 millimeter nut on these, so you don't need to hold them on the outside. They don't need a lot of torque. Just give them a little snug. They'll hold that Picatinny rail and they will never come off. Just like that. Move this chair out. Just like that. The scope does come with a lens cover for the front, which is pretty cool. Keep that on there just to keep it protected and make sure no dirt or anything gets in there. Has the eyepiece for the rear, which just screws in here. I'm going to leave it off for now for sighting in purposes. And we will mount the IR illuminator just so we can get an idea of what that looks like. This actually takes a smaller Allen, so let me grab that real quick. Hang on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and mount the IR illuminator now. You got to pull the back of the illuminator off, and it slides through this mount that has this little plastic bushing inside of it, just like so. Then the back can go back on. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the battery. We'll put that in now, and it goes this way. Battery in. I charged that battery up overnight. It came actually charged, but I left it on the charger all night just to make sure we're all good so we can go out and test later today. And then it has a simple Allen wrench on the top here that tightens the Picatinny mount onto the side Picatinny mount that comes on the forward scope mount that ATN provides, just like that. And then it has the two smaller Allen wrench bolts that go on the side here, and we'll clamp this thing into place just like this. Now you don't need this thing on the scope all the time. If you're using it in the daytime, you obviously don't need the IR illuminator, so you could remove it. I would probably remove it via the single Allen bolt on the top, attaches it to the Picatinny, and leave the mount on the light itself, because these little tiny screws, you know, the smaller a screw is, the less it likes to be constantly messed with. So that's on there. All right, so that's pretty much it. The scope's installed. We will take it out to our private range out in Stark at Swine in the Pines, hopefully this afternoon, and get it zeroed, get some footage of all that, get it shooting, and see how this gun does, and then, you know, get some comparison footage with some hogs with the day and the night vision versus the thermal for the day and the night, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.